Do you know the difference between regular bail, anticipatory bail, and interim bail? Hi, this is Rujina Sumarmun. I'm an advocate practicing in Supreme Court from past 10 years. Let's start with regular bail. Regular bail is governed under 437 and 439 of CRPC. Now, under BNSS, the corresponding sections are 480 and 483. So the main differences are it is regular bail would be applicable only in a situation when the accused has been arrested. So it comes after the arrest of the accused, and he is either in the judicial police custody or judicial custody. So how do we apply for regular bail? We file an application before the concerned court seeking regular bail of the accused. And who gives regular bail? Who has the power to give regular bail? It's either by the magistrate or by the sessions court or high court. So when does court consider to give regular bail in a case when let's take three examples. First is long incarceration without trial. If there is a trial going on and the accused is in the judicial custody for really long, for years, then the court considers for regular giving regular bail to the accused. Second would be the court considers whether if the accused is released from the jail, whether he would cooperate with the investigation or not. So that's the second factor the court considers. Third factor could be if the offenses the punishment for the offenses falls, either the maximum punishment would be either less than 7 years or up to 7 years, then that's another factor when the court considers giving regular bail to the accused. So the main purpose of giving regular bail to an accused is guided by the principle called bail is the rule, jail is the exception. Why? Because it is it has been enacted, or it has been evolved keeping in view Article 21 of the Constitution, to look into the personal liberty of the accused as well, so that detention should not cause injustice to the accused, or unfair detention or unfair incarceration should not cause injustice to the accused. That's why this principle is is the reason behind this right given to the accused. Now let's move to anticipatory bail. So anticipatory bail is governed under section 438 of CRPC, and now under BNSS the corresponding section is 482. So when is this applicable? It's before the arrest of a person. It was after the arrest in the case of regular bail, and in anticipatory bail it is before the arrest is made. And secondly, if so how it works: when a person thinks that, or has a reasonable apprehension, and also he can establish that he is going to be arrested anytime by the police, then he can file an anticipatory bail before the concerned court to get the protection from the arrest. So the procedure is the same as regular bail by filing an application in the concerned court, whereas in regular bail, magistrate also had power. A person could have directly filed an application before the magistrate's court, but in the case of anticipatory bail, only sessions court and high court can deal with the application of anticipatory bail. So here unless the in the case of regular bail, unless the accused is it is sentenced or convicted, the bail remains in picture. So what happens after the concerned court grants anticipatory bail to the accused? Does it remain forever, or it is in operation only for a short period of time? So in the case of Sushila Agarwal versus State and City of Delhi, the Supreme Court had clarified and held that anticipatory bail will last till the end of the trial. So this was clarified by the Supreme Court. But there are exceptions when the court will have to intervene and cancel the anticipatory bail given to the accused. So those could be in a situation when when a accused violates any condition based on which the anticipatory bail was granted, or misuses it, or let's say he absconds. So in that kind of case, the court intervenes and cancels the anticipatory bail. So let's take an example for anticipatory bail when it will be applicable. Let's take the example of a matrimonial dispute between a husband and a wife. So let's say the husband is apprehending that his wife is going to lodge an FIR against him under section 498A of IPC. So what he will do is he will immediately move to the court, to the concerned court, and by filing an anticipatory application, um, seeking protection from the arrest. So this condition is fulfilled for applicability of anticipatory bail, which is pre-arrest. This is done. So to fulfill the second condition, the husband has to establish reasonable apprehension. So apprehension shouldn't be just an apprehension or imaginary, but a reasonable one. He has to show, for example, he has to tell or take this ground in the application that he has received a call from a police officer asking him for an inquiry in this case. So that could be one of the grounds where he can establish the reasonable apprehension that his wife is going to lodge an FIR against him. But it would be imaginary if he wouldn't have been able to establish his apprehension for seeking anticipatory bail. If he hadn't told the court that he had received a call from the police officer, and he has every strong apprehension, reasonable apprehension that he will be arrested immediately in the inquiry, at the time of inquiry or after the inquiry, then it would have been imaginary. In that kind of a situation, anticipatory bail would not be applicable and he would not be granted any protection from the arrest. So this is mandatory, this is very essential for seeking anticipatory bail. So let's now move on to interim bail. Interim bail is nowhere defined in the code, but it has been evolved through judicial interpretations by the court. It's a temporary bail and usually applicable during the pendency of a regular bail or an anticipatory bail. And why it's taken? Because regular bail or anticipatory, the main application cannot be taken up promptly or immediately by the court. So in the meantime, while the main application is pending, interim bail is granted to the accused based on the situations on case to case basis. So since it's pending, it's at the time of pending of the main applications, either anticipatory or regular bail. It can be either before or after the arrest, when the court will grant interim protection from arrest to the accused. So the procedure is that normally the accused has to, since the main application has not been taken up, it's taking time, the accused can file a written application seeking interim bail for a few days. But sometimes what happens is the court, at its own discretion, looking into the facts of the case, if it's going to take a longer period of time, even if there is no written application by the accused, the court will grant interim bail. So in the case of interim bail, any court can grant it depending upon the situation during the pendency of the main application. So here magistrate court can grant it, sessions court can grant it, high court can grant it, supreme court can grant it based on the pendency. So as the name suggests, it's an interim bail. It is only for a temporary period. So the period exists only for, like, let's say 10 or 15 days, very very short period, since till the time the main application is decided. So let's take an example when the court has granted interim bail to the accused. So in the case of Kuldeep Singh Sengar, who is the accused in Unnao rape case, he has been granted 4 times interim bail by the court in last 3 to 4 years. So why he was granted? Because on the ground of medical emergencies or on the ground of humanitarian purpose. So what are the factors which are taken under humanitarian grounds? So if there is a marriage function of the accused daughter, so being a father, he has to attend the ceremony. So the court grants interim bail for a few days to attend the wedding of his own daughter. So there is another case when if there is a death in a family, the accused has to go and attend the funeral ceremony for which the court again grants for a few days. So but when interim bail is granted for a few days, the accused has to immediately surrender as soon as the period of interim bail is over. The next example could be on the basis of loss of reputation. So that could be another ground when interim bail is granted, or if if a person is a senior citizen and he is sick or infirm or vulnerable, then in such kind of a situation, till the bail main applications are pending, the court will grant interim bail for a certain period. So that's all I wanted to share with you all. Thank you so much. See you next time.